Hey folks, welcome back to the program. We've got a serious problem here though with the connection, and my internet is really crap. I don't know what's going on. My upload speed's not working, so I'm going to have to apologize. We're going to try to do this interview here, but if it breaks up, and I see it breaking up already, I'm going to have to record it, and my apologies for that. So this is not doable like this. My internet is all screwed up. That's going to mess me up for this weekend. So apologies for that. This will be uploaded, this interview, after the fact. My apologies. And if we get the internet fixed, and if my guest is available, we'll try to come back. But this isn't gonna work. So stay tuned. We'll do the interview, then upload it. So I'm not gonna be able to do my news properly either unless I do it off my mobile phone. So my apologies for that, but this is not doable. It's just going to frustrate you all. So my apologies for that. Nothing I can do about it. I've checked all my equipment. There's nothing wrong with my equipment. And the internet service provider says nothing wrong with their connection. That's a lie. There's a problem with their connection. So they're sending a technician out, but I have to wait until Monday. So in the meantime, this is a problem. I'm going to have to wind up using my mobile phone to do live streams. All right, so I will. Okay, you got the message. I can see that people at least heard that, even though it's breaking up. So, all right, so my apologies. Just stay tuned. You'll be able to catch this interview as soon as I'm done interviewing my guest. I'll upload it because it'll take a little while to upload the video, but it's not live, so it's not going to be jerky. And then you'll be able to watch it as a saved video on the program. Okay. My apologies, folks. That sucks because a big part of this is interaction with the guest, and that's going to be missed. But it's the best I can do. All right, thank you. I'm going to close it here. My guests will stay on, and then I'll be back shortly with this uploaded. Thank you very much for your patience. I understand and appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was a disaster. I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
like this. I don't know.
Ah,
I don't know what the hell's going on. It's very annoying. But 170 people are waiting, so I really feel bad about letting them down. Okay, let's do this from like this. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start it like we're starting now. Okay.
sure. Thanks,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, folks, welcome back. This is Chris, not live in central Pennsylvania. The interview is live, but unfortunately, my internet service provider is once again playing Let's Keep the Data from Chris. And so my upload speed has gone from 30 megabytes per second to less than 1 megabyte. It's not fast enough to stream. Last night, I played around with it for an hour and a half, spoke to tech service for an hour and a half, and then wound up doing a night show from my mobile phone off my mobile network, which was stronger. So my apologies for that. But my guest today is Matt De Beer, who is a recent arrival from South Africa, part of the Trump's Refugee program for South Africans suffering from unjust racial discrimination. And he is up in the land of the Pilgrims, where some of my ancestors came over on the Mayflower a few centuries ago. He didn't come on Mayflower. He came, I think, in United. I believe that's how he got there. If not, it might have been Delta. We'll talk about it. Matt, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Colonel. Much appreciated. Thank you. Honored to be on your program.
Well, what's that growing on your shoulder there? Something attached to your shoulder.
This is a little bit of South Africa that we took with, apart from just our clothes on our backs. But these are my reminder of our other four-legged children that we left in South Africa. Some of the um, things we needed to do to get where we are today.
So you had to leave some pets behind.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we found very good homes for them. Actually, the one pet was so lucky. I think she found a better home, which which made me a bit of angry. It's like, seriously, it's like, can you not just cry with us?
Yeah.
And she's like just going like a bomb. So yeah, no, the people are they are just great. It helps a lot to know that people are still looking after your pets and they have got a loving homes, and because it's very sad leaving your country.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I
It's
can
really sad.
imagine. I can imagine it's quite difficult. You could probably put that down. Your arm's going to get very tired here in a minute or two.
Yeah, thank you. Just representing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I got you. That's good. So yeah, I guess your pets like you're like, where's the loyalty? We took care of you. Now we're giving you another home, and you don't care that we're leaving.
Yeah, it's like no tears. Well, we've got a lot of tears going. Yeah, but it's
So,
good.
so when did you arrive in the U.S.?
We arrived last week, Thursday, on the 4th. Yeah, I think
Right,
it's the
so,
4th. Yeah,
so you are literally fresh off the boat.
fresh off the boat. fresh off the boat. We haven't even completely unpacked. Some of the suitcases still got some clothes in, and yeah, literally off the boat.
So, what are your first impressions? I know it's early days, other than it's probably cold. You're not accustomed to the cold.
No, no, no. We've done some cold vereniging winters in my life, and some cold Kimberleys, but this is cold. This is cold. But the snow is loving. We love the snow, especially the sun. I mean, it's like we are trying to walk around in the neighborhood just to get out a bit, and it's like jumping into each puddle of snow, heap of snow, and he's just overjoyed with this white thing that's laying around, and he's loving it.
Are you saying he? I assume that's your son.
That's my son. Yeah, he's just loving it. The 7-year-old son. One of the biggest choices that we had to make was for him, so that he can have something.
So that's a major motivation for your getting involved with the program was a future for your children.
For sure. Yes,
And,
100%.
and what was your concern for the future? I mean, is there just a lack of opportunity because of them being white, or is it just the country's falling apart?
So countries falling apart, job opportunity wise. But to be very honest, I didn't think he's gonna even make to the age of worrying about employment. Um, he's now 7 years old, and I didn't want to be in that position to say that we should have waited, and we did, and then it didn't happen. We can't take that chance with him. I don't think he would have survived up until 8 or 9. And even if there was a slight chance that that was a reality, it could have been a reality. It can be a reality. I don't want to play it down, but um, I don't want to take that chance, because there is a chance of him not making it up until his 8th birthday because of the persecution on our minority. And I don't want to take that chance. I'm not willing to take that chance with him, even if there's a slight chance that he would be not make it.
So you say that, I mean, have there been threats or any dangers to your family because of race? Is that, did you have a fear of something in the
Yes,
future?
yes. There was post persecution, up until very recently persecution, um, where we were told straight to our face, because of our minority and our ethnicity, we will be targeted, and we are being targeted, and very soon they will be acted upon it. And I couldn't take that chance with him, with me, and the wife as well.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that there have been threats made to your family and you took them seriously.
Very seriously, yes.
So
Because one
where,
of the things is I could not take it seriously, because if you look at what is currently happening in South Africa, it's not that you cannot take it seriously. There is every day farm attacks happening. It's not a if or a it's happening. It's not fake news.
well, since you mentioned a farm attack, that begs a question. Are you from an urban area, a peri-urban area, or did you live on a farm?
We live on a farm, rural area, rural farm holding, yes.
Whereabouts was that at?
Just outside of Pretoria, on the small holding farms, in Tierpoort. So that was, I would say, Pretoria East, far out Pretoria East.
All right, so Pretoria. So, okay, that helps give me an orientation there. I didn't realize we had that many problems out in Pretoria East. Pretoria East, immediate east, is probably one of the better places in South Africa, although it has challenges too. But you were further east,
Correct,
out in the countryside.
correct. And I mean, if the threats are even coming there, you really need to take it seriously. It's not just a thing. I do get that it's not in Limpopo, right on the border, all those things where it is prevalent every day, or in the Free State. But I mean, it's everywhere.
So the place that you were at, were you a farm manager? Did you actually own a farm, or you were leasing? What was the situation?
We were leasing on the farm, yeah. So we were staying there on the farm, yeah.
Were there any land claims to that farm by anybody? Is it in dispute right now? Is that an issue as well?
Yeah, well, not officially, but part of the threat was telling us straight, we want your land. So we will make it difficult for you. We are going to make it difficult for you so that you move. So it's easier for us to take over the land.
Well, the irony then, based on the fact you said you're leasing, is it's not even your land. You're just a leaseholder. So I mean, they're threatening you for something that's not even yours.
Correct. But the assumption that we own the land, I think that is one of the biggest other issues as well. The assumption is still that the white Afrikaner owns everything, and that is not true. Yet we are still, if I can say, held up to that standard of persecution as to being the richest and owning everything, and it's like have to pay that, but we are not. Um, yeah,
Well, it reminds me very much of the situation of Brendan Horner, who was a farm manager, and it was his 21st birthday when he was kidnapped, tortured, and then murdered and hung from a fence post to send a message to others. And that case is yet to be resolved. That murder has not been solved because it's not of any interest to the police. But he didn't own a farm, and he was murdered.
I could not, I'm getting chills about it. As you're speaking to me, and I don't even I know about the story, and I didn't know him personally, but as a fellow human, as a fellow minority, I can feel it. My heart is broken for that person and for that person's family, and just because of the color of his skin, um, and it's not just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, let's get away from that topic because that's a bit of a
Yeah.
depressing subject. Talk a little bit more about your process of resettling. So, when did you first hear about this program?
We heard about it on I think in February, when it came out. Luckily, with the people we also share part of the rural farm holding with, also told us, listen, there's some huge announcement from President Donald Trump that's going to come through. Please keep your eyes and ears, and they actually mentioned your channel, and they said, please, he's the first. He knows about South Africa and South African news, and he's in touch with it. And please listen to it. And that's how we learned about the program, and we did the email. I think it. I sent the email actually on my birthday, the 11th of March, through, and then it was quiet for a while, and we listened to your program. You just said, just wait, be patient. It's happening. It's starting. Just be patient, and that's how we kept to it. And I think the first time we were contacted for an interview was at the beginning of September, and from there it started to go a bit quicker, and we were scheduled to go just before the government shut down. We were scheduled to come through on the I think the 3rd of October, and then the that beautiful government shutdown happened. Yeah,
All right, so let me make sure I understand that. So you were one of the original folks that sent a message into the PRM email saying you're interested in the program back in March.
correct.
You didn't get contacted for about 6 months, and here you are. You just arrived last week. So what I've been
Yeah,
telling people all along is that those who, because I'm getting thousands of messages from people and look, I don't mean to be rude to any of those people out there, and certainly not to you, but everybody's my case is urgent. Mine's the most important. Why am I being ignored? This is unfair. And I've told people there are 100,000 plus of these things out there. There's only a handful of people working on this case. Also, there's no budget for it. People don't seem to want to listen to that. The money is being, taken from Peter to pay Paul, but the government started again. Yes, but there's still no budget. They're still taking money, discretionary funds, which the State Department doesn't have a lot of, to bring people over here, and it's falling on deaf ears. And the other problem too, now we'll talk a little bit about that, is that newer arrivals, we're going to find that they have fewer entitlements than previous arrivals because the big beautiful bill in July eliminated a lot of things for refugees, which is unfortunate. But food stamps is going to go away, among other things. But the point is that you did the email, and because I'm getting people now like, I did the email, and then I did the statement of interest, and then I did the intake questionnaire. I haven't heard anything. This is unfair. It's not unfair. It's unfair to be so demanding. My point here, and not to frustrate people, be rude to them, is that people keep telling me this is unfair. Screw Trump. I'm like, okay, well then I guess you don't want to come here. You had no hope on February 6th before Trump announced this program, and I went live on February 7th, 2 hours after he announced it. And while it may have been some time, the average wait time for people to come over who are refugees is 4 to 6 years after they apply. And we got people who've been waiting. I just got an email this morning from someone telling me, "Oh, Colonel Wyatt, please look into this person's case. We're in a Telegram group, and their case is urgent, urgent, urgent." And I looked at it, and they got contact on October 3rd, and again later in October, and then they had interviews in November, and now they're like, "Whoa, what?" I mean, a little bit of patience here. I mean, it takes longer than that to take. I mean, what gets me, sorry, man, I'm just getting a little frustrated with this stuff. Is that these are the same people that will go to Home Affairs and not get a document, and then they aren't yelling at anybody. They're just angry at this program. I think people need to be understanding about how hard the people that are trying to process you are working. And that's what I'd like to turn to now. What was your experience with, I don't know, did you talk to USCIS? I mean, you did at some point, but did RSC handle your case? Was the Americaners? Tell me a little about who contacted you for the screening, and then we'll get to your interviews.
Good, cool. RC contacted us originally, and we did the first phone interview, I think. And the lady was very pleasant. And she was from Kenya, but she was very pleasant. And she heard our story, and after that, it was about a week. We didn't hear anything. And luckily, my wife, she's the calm one in the family, and she said, "Just hold on," because I was actually already getting a bit anxious, and she said, "Just wait." She said a couple of weeks, and in American language, it means a couple is like two. It's not like a bit or something. And I said, "Okay, let's wait." And through as it be, 2 weeks after that, we got a follow up call again, and then she told us, "Listen, please just hold on. Your case is now being referred to UCIS, UCCIS, and that they're going to start processing it, and she will contact us, and we'll get an email from them." And then there was about a period of 2, 3 weeks, again with no answers. Um, but again, like you said on the program, just hold on. The process is moving forward as long as you're being contacted, and just hold on. And I think after the week 4, we got another email that scheduled us for our first interviews that we did at the houses. Um, and that was about in 2 weeks' time. And then we went and we did the interviews at the houses, and we were then processed by UCIS, USCIS, it's USCIS. um, and they were very nice with us as well. I must say, very accommodating, and the American accent was interesting, as always, but that was good. And then also again, I think it was about a week or two, there was some radio silence, and then they said, "Okay, now you're going to come for your final interview," and we went for the final interview, um, and that was quite of a hectic, stressful interview for me as well, um, as to because some of the past persecutions and future persecutions, you have to relive every time that you have to articulate this, and some of them are really not what you want to relive the whole time. I found out very much that we tend as South Africans to just push it down, just push it down there and leave it there, and just work through it and just go with it. And to bring it up each and every time, that's not nice. But at the end of the day, it was there for a reason. And the lady that did the interview was really helpful. She was very polite. She was very understanding. And that was actually, she made the whole experience much, much lighter.
So I think
And
you make a key point there that people need to understand is that some people have written to me in private like I don't want to have to retell these things, and I said I appreciate where you're coming from. It may be painful, but if you want to be considered a refugee, you're going to have to share those things with those people because we have to determine whether you're real or not. And how do we know if you're real? I mean, we've already seen these scumbags who tried to defraud other South Africans, pretending, oh, give me money, I can put you on a list and get you to the front of the queue. And then this dirtbag had the audacity to come to my meet greet in Centurion and get a selfie like hundreds of other people did, and then use that to try to promote his scam. And my viewers called him out on it and said, no, the colonel doesn't endorse this. So then he writes a video, or does a video, and says he wasn't impressed by me and tries to get more money from his viewers. So he and his friend actually tried to get through the program, were caught at the screening process in person, and they were reported to the authorities in South Africa for their fraud. But my point is that we have to determine if people are real. Now, let me ask you this question, Matt. This process, do you feel it's a very thorough process that they check your background? One of the things I hear from people, many people who get interviewed, is they go to interviews and they get asked questions and are like kind of shocked, like, how the heck did they know about that? How do they know that about me? Obviously, they're doing some pretty thorough background checks. We've heard, not so much lately, we've heard a lot of nonsense about, oh, these people aren't being screened. It's not a thorough process. But of course, we've discovered that the 233,000 people that the Biden administration brought over, most of them had no screening whatsoever, and now they have to redo it. So my question is, did you feel it was a very thorough screening, and were you surprised by them knowing things about you that you didn't think they'd know?
for sure, definitely a very thorough screening. And of course, the whole vetting process is for our protection as well, and for America's protection as well. And yeah, it was very thorough, and a bit scary at the same time because sometimes you can't recollect, recollect. Um, did I use the wrong crayon when I was still doing some drawings in primary school? Because they go way back. So I was worried that they saw that I used a lot of orange in one of my drawings, but luckily that didn't come up. But I must say, there is when we did the screenings and we watched the other families, as when they call them in, they call them back, and then they call them back again. Um, we did see that they in certain instances it's like they can see there's something not maybe completely kosher with the whole thing, and then they will call you back the whole time. But if they can see that you are genuine, and one of the biggest things that also the wife said is, please, there was a thing that you could get some a draft for your case, that someone offered money that you can buy and you get like a draft for the whole thing. She said, please don't do that. We don't need it. Just take your case, plain and simple, and be honest, and that's it. And that meant a lot, I think.
Well, that's a key point too. Something I've emphasized from the very beginning. And I know that, that they're asking, for instance, because it seems that all the people who do these investigations and the screening know who I am, and a lot of them are asking, did Colonel Wyatt ask you for money? Did he coach you on what to say? And first, I'm not taking any money from anybody for this process. The second thing is that when people ask me what they should do, other than we came up with a draft list of some potential things they could ask you, just give people an idea, a questionnaire which you might be asked, but it wasn't official questionnaire. Turns out that most of what we suggested was true. And now, I mentioned social media on there, and people are like, why social media? I said, well, because if I'm an investigator and I was a counterintelligence agent, and I did investigations like this, I would want to know what your social media is to see part of who you are. And it has a bearing on whether you get approved or not. Well, now the Trump administration is going back 5 years for tourists who want to come to America to look at their social media. And they're looking at refugees and the ones who already come over at their social media. So my point was valid, but a lot of people called me a liar. I didn't know what I was talking about. And all it was, a list of things that potentially be asked. But the bottom line is that, and I want to get your take on this, is that there's no preparation for this. You're not taking the matric. You're not passing out from school. You're going and you're being honest and forthright and telling people what you've experienced, why you think it's racially based, the fear you generally had over those events, and then recounting them, unfortunately, and then any fear you have in the future, and just being honest. I mean, that's all you can do for this is just show up when you're told to show up, be patient, answer the questions, be forthright and be honest, and don't hold anything back, and don't omit anything, because if they find it and you've omitted it, you might get disapproved. Does that sound like good advice?
100% spot on advice. Spot on advice, Colonel. That's the best advice. We lived by it, and that's why we are here. We kept to that, just that, and that's why we're all here at this stage.
Well, speaking of being here, where did you fly out of? Did you fly out of Cape Town or Joburg, and did you go to Atlanta or Newark?
Well, from Johannesburg, we flew from Johannesburg. Maybe one thing that did pick up is like I think you mentioned about 2 weeks back as well that people are scheduled for interviews in Pretoria, and then they are from Cape Town, and then the next day they are scheduled for medicals in Cape Town again. And it's like, you can't get from Cape Town to Pretoria and back to Cape Town like within a couple of hours. It's just physically not possible. And what we did pick up with the pre-flight the day just before we flew is that, unfortunately, I don't know how that happened, but some people were scheduled to fly from Johannesburg, but they were in Cape Town as for the pre-flight meeting, and some people were in Pretoria for the pre-flight meeting, and they were actually from Pretoria and they had to fly from Cape Town. And we felt for those people. It was not a lot. I think it was 2 or 3 families from Cape Town that needed to come up and fly from Pretoria, and 2 or 3 from Pretoria that needed to go down. We were lucky with that.
So on your flight, you said you went from Joburg. Did you land in Atlanta or in Newark?
Yeah, no, we did land in Atlanta, and then we got 2 connecting flights to Manchester.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you flew into Manchester, New Hampshire to get to where you're at.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
and we flew with Southwest.
Ah, yeah, Southwest.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
but I must say,
I'm a shareholder. Thank you.
well, you're a shareholder in a very good airplane airline, really. Nothing bad to Delta. Really, it was just an excruciating long flight. We just gave up smoking as well, me and the wife, just before the flight. So you can imagine it was a bit longer than for normal people, but um, it wasn't really pleasant, if I can say. But as soon as we got onto Southwest, oh, the people, they were just talking to us and helping us and moving us. And I must say also the people that we received us, CIS at Atlanta, especially the one lady, the one, she even went with the train with us so that we could actually go out of the airport because we needed to come back in because Delta didn't have a thing with Southwest. They had like you can't go through our aisles to connect. So we had to go, and she went all the way with us, and that was that was beautiful. Um, and Southwest as well. They were just full of smiles and helping us, even with the one connecting flight, because the first one we would have been late, and then we would have only arrived here in Manchester around 10 o'clock at night. And she actually called the connecting flights, and she said, "Listen, can you please just hold on 5 more minutes if we are being late?" Well, luckily they were also delayed a bit, but I mean, just doing that was felt very special.
Okay, so let me delve into that a little bit because people have asked me how it works, and normally when you fly from South Africa to the States, your bag is checked all the way through. However, it sounds like you encountered an unusual situation, which is not impossible. I've dealt with the same thing when I used to fly from Liberia through Brussels. My bag would sometimes be checked all the way through on Lufthansa, and if it was a different carrier, it wouldn't be checked through. So in this case, there's apparently no code sharing or baggage sharing. So you had to fly to America, get your bags, and instead of rechecking them in to continue on your flight. They weren't checked all the way through. They only checked to Atlanta. Let me finish. They only checked to Atlanta. So you had to go out and get your boarding pass issued by Southwest because they have no presence in South Africa, and since they don't share flight arrangements with Delta, Delta couldn't issue that boarding pass in Joburg. So you had to get out of the airport, go to the check-in terminal, and then get your boarding pass for Southwest, check your bags back into Southwest, and then go back through security and go back in the airport. Did I get that correct?
Correct, 100%,
Okay,
100%.
the reason I asked that question because that's different than what I've told people. Because the normal process would be your bags are checked to your final destination. So, like for instance, if I came over on Delta and Delta took me all the way through to my destination, which they do, they take me back to Harrisburg, they check my bag all the way. Also, if they switch over to say if they have to switch to United, they usually do that as a courtesy, so it's not a problem. But if you wind up on a smaller airline that doesn't have those arrangements, like maybe Frontier. Spirit's going out of business, so that's not a good example, but possibly JetBlue, and certainly in this case, Southwest, because Southwest is an independent carrier that doesn't have these ties. So that's important for people to understand. But you didn't have to pay for the bags; that was taken care of, right?
That was taken care of, yeah. We
All
didn't
right.
need to pay for it. Yeah.
Did you bring any extra bags? You pay for any extra bags, or you just take the one bag each?
We took the one check-in bag each and the one carry-on bag, and
All
that
right.
was it.
So you came with little. You're like the guys that showed up in Cape Town in 1652. You got almost nothing.
Yeah, correct. Our whole life packed in 6 bags.
Wow. So, all right, let's shift the focus a little bit here to your arrival in New England. You're in New England, and that's where some of our earliest settlers came to the United States, and they tried to farm and discovered the soil is pretty rocky up there. But they did
Yeah.
farm for a while. Eventually, a lot. The funny thing about New England is that there are more trees in New England today than there were when the Pilgrims arrived, because shortly after the Pilgrims arrived, a lot of it was deforested for farmland, and a lot of that's reverted back now. So the forest cover in New England is actually thicker today than it was in the 17th century. What's it like so far? I mean, it's just been a week or thereabouts. It's cold. You've already covered that.
Yeah.
But where you're located, is it pleasant? Is it a little dodgy area? What's it like?
I must say the agency has maybe tried their best to do accommodate us, and we are a bit of process about the place that we stay and just maybe the furniture and all those things. But I must they're working on it, and we must also take into account with apparently with a big beautiful bill like with the SNAP. We did not. They just told us yesterday we do not qualify for it. Um, which at the end of the day, it's okay. There's a lot of food places that we can go to, that food banks. They gave us a list of that, and that's okay. And they even gave us a few stuff to start off with, which is all great. We are thankful for everything that they've given us.
But you're really, really starting all over again. And the key thing now is to get that Social Security number and that employment authorization document so you can go find some work. Are you hopeful, or do you have a timeline on that, or have they told you you're going to have to wait till the new year?
Hopefully they got a hopeful that we can get it this week, maybe even, or maybe even next week. That's also the one thing that we also keep pushing at. Because at the end of the day, as soon as we can start working, we can make whatever we need to do, and then we can do whatever we need to do. We just want to start working.
And what about your son in school? Not started yet, starting in January. Is that the plan?
It seems like that, yes. So as soon as he will also get his social security number, they can start applying to the schools. We have identified a few schools for them in the area as well, and asked them about it. They and yeah, it sounds like he's gonna actually also start in January. Yes, he's looking so much forward to that.
Well, I'm sure that's interesting. Kids looking forward to school. That's a nice change of pace. You see, especially boys. That boys don't want anything to do with school. The girls like it usually, but well, that's good to hear. So you've been there for a week. It's enough time to get a feel. Have you figured out public transport? Is that an option so you can get around, or are you walking? Or are you on bicycles? You got dog sleds? You did say snow there. No, I'm just kidding.
Dog, yeah, we would love the dog sled. No, I must say, I'm very lucky with my wife. She's like extra intelligent and just tuned into life. And she figured out you can have look at Google on Google Maps, and it actually tells you. You just press the bus part, and it tells you where to take the bus. And we were lucky just down the street where we stay now, there's the bus station. And we actually went yesterday all the way to Walmart. Because I said, I really need to see if there's those crazy people at Walmart that we always see on the memes. I call it memes, but okay. On the memes, I want to see those crazy people, please. I want to see them going in their bikinis or their shorts and pajamas. And so we went there and we went all the way through from public transport and we didn't pay a cent. That was good. So
Ah,
it was all
well,
free.
that's that. Okay, well, that is that because of your status, or is that just the public
Yeah,
transport's through there? Okay, okay, all right, yeah, that's
yeah,
a lot of municipalities and locations will have that for people who can't afford bus passes that they'll give them for free or discounted. They'll give senior discounts, things like that. I have to tell you that the African National Congress, in an effort to dissuade South Africans from taking up the refugee program, has now begun opening Walmarts in South Africa. I didn't know if you know that.
yeah. I heard there's one. Oh goodness, good luck for them.
Yeah, good luck for them. So,
Yeah.
when you went through the program for the interviews, without disclosing where you're at, we're not going to do that. But were there English-speaking South Africans? Were there any colored South Africans and Indians there? Or was it just a bunch of white farmers? You tell me.
Um, Not at all. I think the whitest, or well, the closest to the former I could have identified was actually already American, just accompanying his South African wife. And he was like full on already American accent and everything. The rest, well, there was about four colored people, um, which one of them actually sat next to us. And the other four families were IT people coming from the IT section of the industry. Um, I think the closest to the farmers was me and the other guy. Um, yeah,
Now, are you referring to when you were interviewed, or are you talking about on the flight?
on the flight, sorry, on the
Okay,
flight.
so on the flight that you came over last week, there were colored South Africans on that flight.
Four of them.
Well, I just don't believe you because I've been told by the authoritative sources in South African media and social media that this is a program for white Afrikaner farmers. You must be lying. What's going on, Matt? Why don't you tell me the truth?
No, it must be the stop smoking or something that's maybe making my eyes not see
So
correctly.
I think I can help you out here. What it is those were Afrikaners who just came back from Mauritius where they were on holiday and they got a great tan.
And maybe they got some different accent there as well then. Because they would definitely a different accent than Afrikaans.
Okay, so no, I asked that question because I've had coloreds who've come to the States and Indians who've come here, who've called me and have spoken to and done a few of them. I've actually done WhatsApp face to face, so I can see that they're clearly not the Burkis from the Highveld. So
Yeah,
but none have had been willing to come on channel yet, and I understand why. But if I'm hoping that they do at some point because we have to dispel this nonsense that this program is racially based. It's based on racial persecution, not racially based.
no, of course, I'm 100%. I can definitely attest to that. And if, even within the interviews, when we did the interviews as well, there was two colored couples that we also saw during the interviews.
And the reason I mention that is because a lot of people are being dissuaded from the uptake of the program. Look, I'm not asking you guys to come over here. I'm not trying to stop people from coming over here. I'm just trying to report the stuff accurate and be fair. But I, since the very beginning, there seems to be a clear effort to dissuade Indians and colors from taking up the program by lying about the program, even white South Africans. Because I mean, oh my gosh, you should have seen all the belly aching. Now, I'm going to call you people out who was belly aching, then send me emails. Oh, but I'm English. Why can't I go? Who said you couldn't go? But it's for farmers. No, it's not. But it's for Afrikaners. No, it's not. What do you mean it's not? Well, pay attention to what I'm saying. This isn't a Jackie Chan movie. You should understand the words coming out of my mouth. This is for South Africans suffering from racial persecution. Done and dusted, finished and clar. So you're over the States now, and it's been a short time. What's the strangest thing you've come across yet? I realize that you're learning how to drive on the correct side of the road now.
Yes, that's was especially with the bus ride yesterday. It was like a few times I wanted to tell the bus driver, "Listen, you're driving on the wrong side. You're gonna make an accident. Please, can you just move to to the left?" And that was one of the things that boggles the mind a bit. And I must say that the snow boggles the young son's. His mind is like I said, he can't walk past one heap of snow and not jump in it. It's like a strange thing for him as well. Um, I must say, I think the houses, however they look on the outside, was for me and the wife a bit strange to see all the wood. We're more used to brick, if I can say that. And I think that was the strangest things that we saw. And yeah, but we're definitely getting accustomed to it.
Well, that's one of the things a lot of people ask me about America. Why do you have all these wooden houses? Why don't you have brick? Well, we have hundreds of thousands, millions of brick homes, but brick is a much more expensive product and wood is much more readily available. And human communities use what materials readily available. Stone Age folks use stone because it was durable, to make stone places like, settlements like in the Orkneys and in France and the Celtic areas. Places in Africa use thatch because that's what was readily available. There were no trees. Places in deserts use dirt, and people use what's available at hand. In America, North America is a heavily forested region, and so wood is pretty common material for house building. But many homes here are actually made out of brick. In fact, if you go back until the 1970s, most houses are still made out of brick in this country. It was only afterwards. Now they had wooden on the insides for room dividers and for timbers inside. And we had a lot of things like that, but the exterior frequently was made of brick. But brick is a very difficult material to keep a house warm because it attracts the cold. And so wood tends to absorb the heat and it resonates in there for a little better. Anyway, but it's, we build so many houses here that wood is pretty common. So in that part of the country, you're actually going to see a lot of brick houses if you get out and get around. You'll also see a little fake brick too, on houses that are actually made out of wood. But it's just a material that's readily available. So that's, I suppose, strange for South Africans, a little bit different. Have you had a chance to? I probably don't know if you have the resource to go out and eat somewhere. I don't know if you've done that, but if you have gone out, where did you go? Don't say McDonald's.
No, no, definitely not. And thank you for that. Yeah, no, and I must say that the other thing is also, things work here. Where we don't need to do a lot of things from our side in South Africa. You still need to do whatever you need to do in the shop to get whatever you want. Here, it's just works 100%. That would we saw at Walmart. The day that we came, or well, the day after, we actually went for a breakfast. And we went to IHOP. If I can, I don't know if that's like a chain of.
Yes, IHOP stands for the International House of Pancakes, which is pretty cheeky. The International House of Pancakes, IHOP. It's a
Oh,
very famous American brand. It's popular for pancakes. People like to go there. I've been to IHOP before. I'm not necessarily a big fan of it. I prefer Bob Evans for breakfast if I go to a chain restaurant. That's an Ohio chain. But IHOP is all over the country, whereas Bob Evans is kind of Midwestern with a little expansion outside that. So yeah, IHOP. Okay, so you went to IHOP. What was that like?
that was quite nice. That was quite nice. It's especially the bacon. That was quite nice. We loved the bacon and the syrup. Yeah, that was also good. And the pot of coffee that they put on the table, that was also was like looking at this thing and they said, okay, can we have the whole pot? Yeah, no, sure, just have coffee. And I said, that's great. So that was quite nice. Yeah, we enjoyed that.
Well, that's traditionally been a common situation in America. You get free refills in your coffee in many restaurants. I think that's what you're experiencing there.
Yeah, yeah, correctly. Which we don't know in South Africa, which I don't know. Yeah, and
Well,
that was quite nice.
here's a little advice for you too. Even though means are limited, remember that the people who work in the food service industry typically have lower hourly wage rates than many other people because there's an expectation that their income will be derived in part, or sometimes as much as half, from tips. So tipping is not a big culture in South Africa. So it's just, I'm not telling you to give big tips, but I'm just saying that if you have the means, remember that if you get good service, tipping is important. It's part of American culture and it's very much appreciated. And next time you come in, instead of them spitting in your coffee, they'll give you fresh coffee.
Well, for sure, for sure. No, but we saw, especially on the slip as well. They actually help you work it out for you. You can give a 10% or 20% tip. And luckily, when I was still at school, I was a waiter, so I know how tips works and how much of that is actually part of your salary. Um, so yeah, if you got the means, you can do it. And yeah, but yeah, we saw that.
Matt, what you and your family have done is not a simple thing. It's not easy, and people shouldn't discount it. You have given up a life that you've known in a culture and environment that you grew up in, and taken a risk accepting this refugee status to come to America and start all over. And I don't want this isn't a derogatory fashion, but you're starting at the bottom. You've got nothing. What concerns do you have? Are you concerned about the future at all, or do you feel a sense of relief? What is your state of mind at this point, just a week into your time in America?
It's been quite a roller coaster, definitely. Leaving everything, leaving all of the closing a business down. Well, what was left of a business, closing it down. Um, Good careers, good um, friends, good family people. We're leaving all our family, all those people are behind, and to take that leap here, starting at the bottom, it's quite daunting. Um, But I must say, quite a few years ago, I actually talked about this with someone else as well. And I said one of the things of our South Africans, especially the Afrikaners, is we don't lie down. You can kick us, you can do whatever we do. We just roll over and say, okay, let's do it again. And that's what we are. And then we'll build it, we'll work at it, we'll climb this mountain with the ox wagons and everything we got going here, and the sleighs and the snow and the accents and the strange side of the road they're driving on. But we'll make it work because we know for who it is and for what it is.
Now, if you stay here long enough, if things don't change in South Africa, which I don't think they're going to change anytime soon, but if things don't change and you remain in America, if at some point you become Americans, there's the risk that your Afrikaner culture could dissipate and disappear. Have you thought about that? And is there any effort on your part to ensure that your son stays fluent in Afrikaans and that's part of who he is? I mean, that's your identity. I mean, I imagine that's important to you.
Very much, yes. So we were said you've got so many kilograms that you can pack in, and I had to choose what I needed to pack in and from my side, and I said, listen, the family Bible needs to come with because the family Bible is in Afrikaans, and wasn't that's one of the things that will come with as to bring our Afrikaans culture. So we're reading every morning as part of it. I'm reading at the breakfast table. We're reading a verse from the Afrikaans Bible, and that's the way we'll keep the Afrikaans bit, the Afrikaans culture within him as far as we can.
Well, I think that's important. And I mention it because a lot of South Africans have left South Africa over the past 30 years. They go to New Zealand, they go to Australia in particular, to England, to Canada, even some go to France, Japan, Germany, but mostly the Anglophone countries. And a lot of them discover that their kids and their grandkids, they're not Afrikaners anymore. That's been lost. And that's one of the risks I tell people. But it isn't impossible to inculcate your progeny with your culture. We look at the old Spanish families in the Southwest, in New Mexico, in Arizona, who've been there for 400 years. And although that was part of Spain at one point, it became part of America after it was part of Mexico. And those people are Americans. They're born here. They speak English, but they also still speak Spanish. And they are still Roman Catholics, and they still practice cotillion and inculcate their progeny generation after generation. Now, it's a little easier for them because many of their neighbors are of the same origin. For you, it may be a little more challenging unless more people who are Afrikaners settle in the area you're in, or if you move to a place later on where they're at. But it is possible. You look at the Amish. The Amish are Germans and Swiss who came here in the 17th century, in the early 18th century, early 1700s, and settled primarily in Pennsylvania and then spread outward from there. The Amish, many of them, most still speak German. It's a funny German. I speak German fluently, and I have to be careful when I talk to them because they haven't
Yeah.
updated German in 3 centuries. But they still speak that. They still practice their faith. They have their unusual conservative style of dress. They eschew modern conveniences like automobiles and television and things like that. But they're an offshoot, a more conservative offshoot of the Mennonites, who also came over at the same time. And the Mennonites are more progressive. They'll use automobiles and modern technology. But my point is that it is possible. We've also got the Cajuns, who were the Acadians, the French speakers from Canada, who were kicked out of Canada, and they fled to America, which is ironic, and settled in New England, but also down in Louisiana. And we developed this whole Cajun culture. And so it is possible to retain your culture if that's important to you, but it takes effort on your part. And I think that's important
Yes,
that you understand up front.
definitely. The first time we are going to get a chance to light up a braai, we're definitely going to do that. It's just at this stage, the apartment we are staying in, it's not possible to start up a braai, and of course the coldness. But that will always be the braai, and of course our faith, in and our I think our legacy. I want my son will ask me about our legacy, and just to keep on telling him about the story and where we come from, and hopefully that will just keep on passing through. On the other hand, I would love him to have the part of American. Me and the wife, we felt that we've been since childhood, we've been part American all our lives, unofficially. Um, It's still land of the brave, still land of the free, and so that's what we want.
Well, we were on the knife's edge here of not being the land of the free with censorship and abuse of government authorities in the past few years, but we've come back from that abyss now, thank goodness. Let me ask you this question. Is it fair if I were to say to give advice to those interested in the program who are going through the process that people should have some humility and not have an expectation or a sort of demand approach to this because the American people are generously offering you an escape hatch and bringing you over here and devoting our resources, even if they're not, overwhelmingly sufficient, but generously giving of our resources and our time to rescue people from a horrible situation. I think that I've talked to people who've gone to the interviews and they've seen people around them who are South Africans who have this culture of entitlement and they're owed something. And it's not many people, but it's enough people that it's drawn my attention to the issue. And my recommendation is people should be humble. Do you think that's a good advice, or am I just being arrogant?
No, that's very good advice. If someone invites you to their home, you don't come and tell them what to do in their home. And you appreciate it and you say thank you and you try to be the best um, guest in their home as that you can be. And that's how we were brought up. This entitlement that I've seen some of the minority has come over the years. I don't know where they're getting it from. Me and the wife, we spoke about it. That's not the way we were brought up. You respect your host and you assimilate with your host, and you say thank you to your host, and you take you the opportunity, and you make it better. And that's why we are.
Well, one thing I will guarantee you for you, Maddie, is we're far better hosts than Ngane was to Pete Retief.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. So, on that note,
Thank
that
you.
little bit of light humor there, is there
Yeah.
anything, any advice or anything you want to relate about your experience that might benefit other South Africans who are going through this process? You've talked about patience, which is I've been encouraging, but I'm not the one going through it. It's easy for me to encourage or coach people to be patient because here I am sitting as an American. I've got the best passport in the world, and I'm not trapped in that situation. But any advice you can share with people as we get ready to wrap up here, I give you the floor, Matt.
Thank you so much. I would definitely say just, well, keep on listening to your channel. That's number one. In between the lines that you give a lot of courage, and advice as well. Take that, learn from it, make it your own. Keep on going, living your life, keeping your family safe, and just have faith. Just have faith in this program. This is a chance that was given to us. Not it came out of nowhere, but it came from someone, and that's for us. Just keep on that; it's there for us.
All right. Well, Matt, in your case, it may have taken some time from PRM email in March until arrival in December of 2025. That's a bit of a stretch there of about 9 months. But I would dare say that in some respects, Christmas has already come for you. You're already having a Merry Christmas as you've made it safely to the United States. So I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. And I'll butcher this, but, and I know people only say it on Christmas Day, but I can't say the other phrase because it's too complicated in Afrikaans. But saying Kersfees.
Baie dankie kolonel en die geseënde Kersfees vir jou ook.
Well, thank you
Baie
so much.
dankie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
folks, that's Matt DeBeer, who's located up in New England, the land of the Pilgrims, who just came over on the Refugee Resettlement Program from South Africa for South African racial minorities suffering from unjust racial persecution. And he's one of hundreds who've arrived here now. And we want to thank Matt and apologize to my viewers that this wasn't live. It was scheduled live. And when we went live, my internet service provider is not giving me upload speeds. And it was just jumpy and it was just hanging up. So we ended the live and we recorded this. So your questions didn't get here. If people have a lot of interest and they want to learn more from Matt, then what I'll do is when my internet is fixed, I have a technician coming on Monday, the 15th of December. When that technician comes, if we solve the problem, then I'll ask if he's willing to do do a live if we get it fixed. And if so, then we'll bring him back on. But in the meantime, feel free to ask your questions by posting them on the video. This will be loaded up within the next hour. And I want to thank my guests for being here and wish everyone a Merry Christmas. God bless.